Hello guys, welcome to another video on this channel. So as you seen in the thumbnail, what if Naruto and Kagome were couple fell in love with him? This is part 1, and if you want more of this part, then please make sure to like aim is 500 likes, and don't forget to subscribe and be a member, so let's get in the video. It's been a few years already since the gang defeated Naraku and Kagome chose to stay in the feudal era. The well stopped working since then, so Kagome hasn't been able to go back home to her time. She struggled with the fact that she won't be seeing her family ever again. But she knew that this era is where she belonged. The group had stayed together since then, everyone moved into Keed's village and went about their lives. Sango and Moroku worked as pest controllers for those with pretty bad demon infestations. Inuyasha mostly goes to find his brother in order to try and mend their relationship as brothers. As per requested forcefully by Kagome, Kagome stays within the village helping the aging Keed maintain it, as well as training to be a priestess in order to take over when Keed moves on. Kagome was just coming back from her usual visit to the well when. No. Kagome looked around the destroyed village spying all of the scattered bloody bodies and shattered wooden homes. She ran in search of her friends. She gasped as she saw Sango and Moroku in as worse state as the other villagers. Shock filled her being as she continued the search for the rest of her group, hoping to all the gods that at least they were okay. She ran and ran until she came upon a body strewn across the forest floor, battered and bloody. She cried as she ran towards the body. She pulled the body towards her and stared into lifeless, dull yellow eyes, no longer the golden hue that they were. She stroked his silver hair and cried harder. How could this happen? She thought, her savior, the one who was always there with a smirk whenever he came back battered and bruised from a battle he had won, the one who always said he was fine even when he has a gaping hole through his body, laid in her arms, dead. Her tears streamed down faster as she noticed that Inuyasha was cradling something. She gently laid down the half-demon and carefully took the small body clutched to his chest. She held the little kid to her in a way that a mother would, which effectively stained her clothes with blood. "Shippo," she quietly said, and the tears seemed to come harder and faster if even possible. With her eyes shut tight, she didn't notice the faint glow of the jewel and a transparent figure appear in front of her. Kagome. Kagome looked up into the eyes of the women who created the Shiken no Tama. "Midoriko? What are you doing here?" Kagome asked, slightly startled. Midoriko looked at the young priestess with sympathy. "Kagome, I have felt your grief and I am deeply sorry for your loss. I came because I want to offer you a chance at a new life. Should you so wish, you can keep your memories or choose to forget it all, but in order to learn the new ways of this world, you will have to revert back to the age where you can learn in a more efficient manner. I would also suggest bringing things you believe you will need in order to survive, weapons and such." Midoriko looks at the saddened expression of the younger priestess and continues. "You don't need to choose now, take as long as you like, pack whatever you need. When you are ready, send some of your Reiki into the jewel and I will appear." With a nod of the head, the priestess vanished. "Should I take it?" I thought as I gathered together the bodies of my old friends. I look into their faces, eyes closed in an eternal sleep, pale skin with no heartbeat to bring their blood circulating through their bodies. I gaze upon my desecrated village. The one I was supposed to keep safe, and I made up my mind, yes, I should, there is nothing left for me here. As I finished burying and praying for my friends, I grabbed my backpack and took out an old bracelet I never got the chance to really use. I brought it to my friends' weapons. I began shrinking the weapons, including my arrows, and making them into charms. I finished and I grabbed the jewel, planning to alert Midoriko of my answer, but I stopped when I heard a rustle from the woods. I was just about to take out my quiver and bow when a familiar raspy voice came from the bushes. "Sesshomaru-sama, what are we doing at this ninja village?" A green little toad-like imp asked the regal Tai Yaokai known as Lord Sesshomaru. "Silence, Jaken, I smell the scent of my kin in this village," said the demon lord of the western lands. Memories of when I was secretly training with Sesshomaru flooded my mind. We grew closer as friends, close enough for him to allow me into his family with the blood bond ritual. Sesshomaru was looking at how far Kagome had progressed through her training. He was planning to ask her if she wanted to do the blood bond in order to fully integrate her into the clan after all of her drills. As she finished and practically obliterated the dummy, Sesshomaru approached her. "Kagome, you have officially completed your training and showed much improvement in strength. I believe it is time that you fully become part of the clan. The ceremony is relatively simple. To put it simply, all we need to do is drink each other's blood and you will gain some of my powers," Sesshomaru explained. Kagome smiled at him. "I would very much like that, Sesshomaru-sama." "Then, there is no need for the formalities or the bowing," Sesshomaru stated. He brought her to a room which had strange markings on the floor that looked like ripples, but had unfamiliar writing in between each circle. Sesshomaru brought 2 cups and a dagger. He told Kagome to sit in the middle circle and to wait for further instructions. He walked to the middle and started a strange chant. The circles started to glow. He gestured Kagome to come closer and asked her to give him her hand. She complied and Sessamaru made a cut with a dagger and made the blood pour into one cup, then he cut his own hand and poured his blood into the other cup. He did another set of chants which caused the cup to glow a faint purple, then he gave one cup to Kagam and they drank the contents. The light spread into her body as Kagam felt the changes, her hair gained a silvery shine, while a crescent moon appeared on her forehead which was covered by her hair, her nails started growing claws, and she gained fangs. The circle's light died down, and soon the room was how it looked when they entered. Sessamaru approached the new member of his family. "Are you alright?" he asked with a hint of worry. "Yes, on the contrary, I am more than alright Iniki," Kagam said with a smile on her face. "I am right here," Kagam called to him. Sessamaru turned to the sound of her voice, he walked over to her and placed his hand on her shoulder as he tried to make eye contact with the devastated woman. "What makes you upset?" Sessamaru asked. "All my friends." Kagam starts to cry, teeth air, she hugged him tightly and started to sob uncontrollably on Sessamaru. Sorry Iniki, I know crying is a sign of weakness, but they're all gone." Sessamaru rubbed her back soothingly, "It's alright, but I suggest you control yourself. Sure my half-brother and your pack of humans won't want to see you in this state." "You're right," she said sniffling a bit, then she thought of something. I was wondering, Iniki," she paused. Sessamaru looked at her curiously, "What is it?" "Earlier, Midoriko came to me and offered a new life, it would be somewhere completely different and I was wondering if you would like to accompany me. I don't feel very confident going through this alone." Kagam trailed off and waited anxiously for his answer. He contemplated the idea, "If it is alright with the honorable priestess, then I would like to accompany you to make sure you stay safe," Sessamaru states. Kagam was so happy that she tackled the Tai Yaokai to the ground, giggling madly with a wide grin on her face. She stood back up, grabbed the jewel, and sent some of her reiki into it. No sooner did she do that, the great priestess appeared in front of her and Sessamaru. "Have you made your decision?" the priestess asked, a stoic look on her face. "Yes, but I have a request," the younger priestess said. "Which is?" "That my Iniki accompany me into this next life of mine." "Well. Have you made your decision?" the priestess asked, a stoic look on her face. "Yes, but I have a request," the younger priestess said. "Which is?" "That my Iniki accompany me into this next life of mine." Well, I think it should be acceptable, as long as he agrees to my terms," the priestess stated. Sessamaru looked at her with vague curiosity and suspicion. "What are the terms?" Midoriko smirked. "Term 1, she held up her pointer finger to represent what she was talking about. "You will have to change into an appropriate age just like Kagam." She held up another finger. "Term 2, you will have to lose your demonic appearance, meaning claws, tattoos, and fangs." She saw his incredulous look and says, "Don't worry, you will gain it back gradually." Then she lifted a third finger. "Last term is, you will need to get used to the company of humans, because the place I am sending you to will only have a set of 9 demons, and you will be working within 4 humans. Do you agree with these terms?" Her smirk grew wider when she saw his hesitating look, but it disappeared as fast as it appeared. Sessamaru looked at Midoriko with a stoic expression and stated, "I agree to the terms as long as I still have the ability to protect Kagam." When he said that, Kagam hugged him around his arm and smiled. He looked at her and sends the smallest smile back. "Alright then, you two will need to be younger to be able to learn everything. Kagam, you will need to be 7 years old, while Sessamaru-sama, you will need to be 8. Do you understand?" Midoriko asked. Seeing the nods of agreement she continued, "Now I shall explain what this world is." The two looked at the priestess showing they were paying attention. "The place I am sending you to is a world that revolves around ninjas and these powers called jutsus. There are also these things called Kekkei Genkais. You will receive a Kekkei Genkai of your own as well. It will be control over poison just like your poison whip my lord which you two and only you will be able to use, coupled with the fact that you are both part demon, you two will be formidable. There are various villages as well as schools that teach young ones all of these facts. I will put you in the office of the Hokage of Konohagakure or the village hidden in the leaves. The Hokage is the leader of the village. Confide in him all the information you wish him to hear. Make sure that your situation is kept quiet and that you only tell those you fully trust." "Is that understood?" the priestess asked. "Yes it is," the two said. "Kagam, do you have everything wished to bring with you?" "Yes I do," Kagam replied. "Then good luck to you both. When you are ready, go ahead and jump into the well you've used so often." Kagam, with a smile and a secretive glint in her eye, Midoriko disappeared and the two walked off ready to begin their new life. Jaken stares at his lord's back as he walked away. Sessamaru-sama. Kagam wakes up on the ground and looks to see a boy with silver hair looking down at her. Bewildered she sits up and looks around the room she was in. It looked like a library, books on every shelf, as well as scrolls which is completely different from the feudal era where books were non-existent. She looked at the boy and noticed that it was Sessamaru. He was just younger and more human-like. "Are you alright Amato?" The younger Sessamaru asked as he picked up a book on the table in the room. He opens it and stares at the writings curiously. Kagome giggled. "Yes, Aniki, I am fine," Kagome replied. "Where do you think we are?" Kagome looks around the room again and spots a mirror. She gets up and walks over to it. In it she sees a young girl with black-blue hair with a silver tint. She looked about 7 years old. Kagome looks into the other girl's blue-gray eyes and realizes it was her in the mirror. "Wow, I really am back to my 7-year-old self," Kagome stated. "Yes, I have noticed," Sessamaru said. "Let's go and look around this building and see if we can find this Hokage character." With a nod from his sister, they both leave the room and walk down the vast hallway. They come across a door and heard voices. Because of their enhanced hearing, they can stay a certain distance away from the door and still be able to hear the conversation. "Hokage-sama, that blonde brat has been terrorizing the village again," someone stated. "What do you propose we do with it?" "Just stop him from whatever he is doing and bring him to his home, simple as that," a voice of an old man spoke sternly. That is all?" There was a pause. The person probably nodded. Then, "You're dismissed." As that was said, the siblings heard two poofs. They figured that the people have disappeared and they approached the door. Sessamaru knocked and waited for the come in. The children came in and bowed to the Hokage. "Hokage-sama," the two said respectively. "And who are you young ones?" the old Hokage asked the two. "It is a bit of a long story," Kagome stated. "I have time," the old man replied. "Okay then," Kagome said, taking a deep breath, "but first you have to know who we are." "Hokage-sama," the two said respectively. "And who are you young ones?" the old Hokage asked the two. "It is a bit of a long story," Kagome stated. "I have time," the old man replied. "Okay then," Kagome said, taking a deep breath, "but first, you have to know who we are." "I am Kagome Higurashi and I am part Miko, part demon," Kagome said. "How is it that you are part demon?" asked the Hokage, eyebrow raised. "That would be because of my blood. I am Sessamaru Taishu, lord of the western lands where we came from, and I am Kagome's adoptive older brother. All will be explained in the story we are about to tell you," the older silver-haired boy said. "I am Hiruzen Sarutobi, the Sandaime Hokage," the old man said. He leaned back in his seat as if to get comfortable. "I am somewhat skeptical about your story, but I am willing to listen to what you children have to say." The young lord bowed his head and was about to explain when he was interrupted by his sister. "I hope you don't mind that I be the one to relay the information to the Hokage, Aniki?" Kagome asked him. Giving her a nod, she proceeded explaining how she and her Aniki weren't from Konohara, the Sandaime's world in general. Then she told the story of her time-traveling adventures. But leaving out the relationship between her and the Hanyu Inuyasha, she kept going, pausing at the part about the ambush, but continued with her eyes darkening as each moment played through her mind until she reached the present situation. "So you are telling me that this priestess, Midoriko, was able to send you from your world to this one?" Sarutobi asked, getting nods. He continued, "Do you have any proof? How do I know you two are not spies from another village?" He looked at them suspiciously. The two looked at each other. Sessamaru gave Kagome a nod. "Yes, I have proof," Kagome said, and with that she grabbed the jewel around her neck and sent some of her reiki into it. A bright light engulfed the room and, when it disappeared, in front of the Hokage, stood the creator of the Shiken no Tama. She still had her armor on, but she looked more transparent. "What do you need, Kagome-sama?" asked the older priestess. "Nothing really, Midoriko-sama, I just wanted you to meet someone." Kagome turns to Sarutobi. "Is this proof enough, Hokage-sama? For I can assure you that we are spies for no other village in your world." Sarutobi's eyes widened considerably. "Yes, I believe it is. This is Midoriko, I presume." Midoriko bowed down. Midoriko, I am honored to be in your presence, Hokage-sama of the village hidden in the leaves." "Likewise," he replied simply, searching for a trick in this presentation. "This is no trick, Hokage-sama, I am as real as you, I am just a spirit. If that is all you need, Kagome-sama, I shall take my leave. It is good to see you again as well, Sessamaru-sama," and with that, the priestess disappears in another bright light. There was quite a long pause before someone spoke. "Well, now that you have proven your story, we should discuss housing," started the Hokage. "Yes, I agree," said the older of the two children, "but we would like to ask something of you, Hokage-sama." The Hokage looked at him to show he was paying attention. "We would like you to keep all that you have heard to yourself, unless it is truly necessary for you to pass on our secret." Sarutobi nodded to this. "And we would also like to join the school for training ninja here," Kagome added. "I assure you that my Aniki and I can manage. We would also like some scrolls for information on this jutsu your people use for attacks, since they are new types of powers to me and Sessamaru." "It is alright by me, you're in luck as well. The school will be opening in the morning, so you will start your learning tomorrow. I'll send someone with scrolls as soon as later tonight. Your sensei, Kagome, will be Iruka Yamino. Sessamaru-sama will not have the same classes as you will." "Is that alright?" the Hokage asked, getting nods from the children. He summoned a man with a mask that looks like a cat. Sessamaru scowled at the masked man. "Stupid cats. Kakashi, there is no need to wear that mask, it is a simple mission, stated the Hokage. With a nod, the man known as Kakashi, who had gravity-defying gray hair, took off his mask to reveal a pale face with one red eye and an onyx eye, which was all that was visible due to another mask covering the bottom half of his face. The two children looked at him curiously. He wore a sort of gray light padding over sleeveless black spandex. He had elbow and knee guards with a small sword hanging horizontally on his lower back. He noticed the looks he was receiving, and Kakashi just shook his head, knowing what they were about to say. Who are they? The young Anbu asked in a low voice in hope for them not to hear, which was futile because of their enhanced hearing. They are special people. If they trust you, then maybe they'll either tell you themselves or let me tell you. The girl is Kagome Higurashi, while the boy is her brother, Sesshomaru Taishu, the Hokage said. Kakashi nodded and asked, what is my mission, Hokage-sama? Your mission is to bring these two to their apartment, Sarutobi replied. That is all for now. Kakashi was a bit surprised by the simplicity of the mission, but kept his composure. Alright then, Kakashi said, bowing to the Hokage. He turned to the two. My name is Kakashi Haddock, and I will be your escort. Kagome turned to the Hokage, confused. But we don't have an apartment, she stated. The Hokage looked like he just remembered something. Right, here you go. He threw something to Kagome. She caught it and saw that they were keys. She smiled at the Hokage, bowed as a thank you, and followed Kakashi and her brother out. As they walked down the street, they noticed that all the villagers looked, more like stared, at them. She guessed that this was a close-knit city, where everyone knew everybody, which would explain why they are being stared at. The youngest of the three also noticed all the stares and glares that she was receiving from the villagers, glares from the females, while stares from the opposite sex. They all ignored all the looks and continued their trek. As they passed what looked like the academy, Kagome heard whispers. Demon. Beast. Monster. All those whispers were directed at one area, in that same exact place. Kagome felt such an ominous aura that it was almost as bad as Sesshomaru, and that was saying something. She turned to see who it was, and noticed it was just a blonde boy about her age on a swing that hung on a tree branch. Confused, she went closer to take a look, but as she was about to take a step, Sesshomaru stopped her and gave her a questioning look. She pointed to the boy, and he noticed the aura as well. He nodded to her to check out the Satuitan, but his eyes sent her a silent warning to be careful. She nodded to him before turning and walking closer. The closer she got, the more she noticed a second aura coming off the boy. The first was very evil, but this one was as innocent as a newborn baby. She looked around the area and noticed all the cruel stares aimed at the innocent-looking boy. Especially coming from the mothers holding their children back. She frowned and approached the young boy. Hi, she said gently. Kagome, who are you? Don't bother, the boy said. Your parents will just take you away and yell at me, so just save yourself the trouble and get lost. She looked at him confused. Why would my parents take me away? Is it because of the demon in him? She smiled at him sadly. Don't worry about my parents. Why? Won't they take you away? That's what always happens to all the kids that talk to me, he said in a dull and saddened voice. They won't because I don't have any parents, the dark-haired girl said. A bit of sadness leaked into her voice. Anyway, I said my name, now what's yours? Said Kagome, trying to change the subject. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, said the blonde shyly. Okay Naruto, you want to be friends? Asked Kagome. Really? Naruto asked surprised. No one wanted to be his friend before, are you sure? He asked and he pinched himself to make sure he wasn't dreaming. He winced and noticed that she didn't disappear. Yep, positively sure, Kagome said, which made him smile. She was about to say something when her Aniki was calling her name. Kagome, let's go. Sesshomaru called. Kagome. Near the swing, Aniki, Kagome calls back. She looks to Naruto and says, do you want to meet my Aniki? He may be intimidating at first, but when you get used to it you'll just find out he is really sweet, she told him smiling. Sure, Naruto said. A boy came out with silver hair blowing behind him. He also noticed that Kagome ran to him and gave him a hug. Aniki, this is Naruto Uzumaki, stated Kagome. He was the one we sensed earlier, she said in a low voice, so only Sesshomaru could hear. His eyes widened a bit, but went back to normal a fraction of a second later. Naruto, this is my Aniki Sesshomaru Taishu. Hello Sesshomaru, Naruto said. Sesshomaru inclined his head in greeting to the boy. Amato, we need to get home, Kakashi showed me there, and I already know the way, we should go, Sesshomaru said. Naruto looked saddened. Kagome looked from Naruto to Sesshomaru and got an idea. Aniki, can Naruto come visit us tomorrow? Kagome asked with a pleading tone. He didn't want to refuse her, so he said, alright Amato, he may visit tomorrow. Kagome smiled. Okay Naruto, you have class too, right? Meet me back here after school. Whose class do you have? Naruto asked. Iruka Yamino's, why? She asked and noticed the happy look on the boy's face. Because now we can just walk out of class together, said the happy boy. Cool, we'll see you tomorrow then, and with that the three goes their separate ways. As they walked home, Sessamaru was checking Kagam's expressions. The evil aura was that of a certain demon that was very dear to her. "Amato, are you alright?" Sessamaru asked. Kagam seemed to have saddened greatly after Naruto left. "Yes, I am Aniki," Kagam said, trying not to cry. "I just missed them so much." A tear slipped past. When they arrived at the apartment, Sessamaru carried Kagam to what is to be her room and put her on the bed. On their way up, she cried herself to sleep and dreamed of her old friends. Sango, Moroku, Kalala, Kid, Inuyasha, Shippo, and with that last name more tears kept falling. "Amato, are you alright?" Sessamaru asked. Kagam seemed to have saddened greatly after Naruto left. "Yes, I am Aniki," Kagam said, trying not to cry. "I just missed them so much, especially my son." With that she started to cry. When they arrived at the apartment, Sessamaru carried Kagam to what is to be her room and put her on the bed. On their way up, she cried herself to sleep and is dreaming of her old friends. Sango, Moroku, Kalala, Kid, Inuyasha, Shippo, and with that last name more tears kept falling. If you kept walking the path to the largest tree in Inuyasha's forest, you would come across a dry well. Most likely you would think, oh, it's just a dry well, nothing weird about it. Unless you wait long enough to see a girl climb out of the well with an overgrown backpack and a green and white uniform, mumbling about stupid Hanyas and ramen. "Geez. Inuyasha is going to pay for making me buy all this ramen," Kagam said. She runs toward the village, but paused mid-sprint at the sight of someone with silver hair and a red outfit standing in front of her. "Inuyasha?" Kagam asked and received no answer. She started walking slowly toward the Hanyu when she noticed a pool of red liquid surrounding the area he was standing on. She was nearing him when he started to move. He looked like he was turning to look at her when she saw that his feet weren't moving, and the fact that said feet weren't even touching the ground. Mid-turn, and you see something protruding from his stomach. Kagam gasped, noticing it was a sort of bark-like tentacle as it was roughly taken out of the man's body, dropping it harshly on the floor, and behind it stood. The blood-curdling scream was heard throughout the silent home. "Hey." Rushing footsteps came from the one-story apartment where the newcomers of Konoha resided. A door was slammed open, and a worried voice filled the room. "Kagam, what happened?" the worried voice asked. The only response he got was the soft whimpering of the young girl. When you look at her, you would see someone broken, eyes wide with the fear of a non-existent monster. Body slouched up on the bed with her arms wrapped around her body and a river of tears running down her face. Low whispers were heard coming from Kagam. "Another dream?" Sessamaru asked. All he received was a nod. He sighed. That was the third time tonight. Each time she wakes up, she does it screaming and crying and whispering the name of the person she saw mutilated. The other two were Sango and Shippo. He approached her and sat down, putting an arm over her in an attempt to once again comfort the poor girl. "It's alright, Amato. This Sessamaru knows that your friends won't want to see you break down like this," he said. "Are you going to try and sleep again?" This time, she speaks. "No, I'm not sleeping. If I do, I will end up dreaming again. I'll just go study those scrolls that were delivered to us by the Hokage until it is time for us to get ready for school," she said. She unwrapped herself from her brother's arm and walks over to the box that contains the scrolls. She walked back to her bed, turned on the lamp and started to read. At this time Sessamaru had already left the room. For about 2 hours the girl studied about 5 scrolls on Konoha's history and some basic jutsus. She tried the hand signs and succeeded each one on her third try. Since Sessamaru doesn't usually sleep, he already studied all the scrolls and perfected all of the basics before Kagam's third wake up. Now it was time to get ready for their first day of the academy. Sessamaru already showered with the help of Kagam on how to operate the unfamiliar contraption. Kagam grabbed a change of clothes she got on her way to the apartment yesterday and went for the bathroom. She finished her bath and she started changing into her ninja gear. She wore a black strapped shirt with a crescent moon on the back. She was also wearing a fishnet undershirt and black fingerless gloves. She put on dark skin-tight leggings and on the right leg of her bleach white cargo shorts was her kunai pouch. Around her neck was the Shiken jewel, while around her wrist was the bracelet with all of the weapons she brought from her world. She finished putting her hair up in a high ponytail and exited the bathroom when she ran into Sessamaru. He was wearing his standard outfit of white hakama and haori, which was smaller than the one he owned when he was older. But without the armor and his blue and yellow sash replaced with a purely yellow one, his trusted swords Tokijin and Tenseiga on his left hip, while his kunai pouch rested on his right leg. He nods to her in greeting and heads toward the kitchen. "You do know that we have nothing to eat in there, right?" Kagam stated in a bland tone. "Then where do you suggest we eat?" Sessamaru asked her. She just walked up to the door leading to the outside part of their apartment. She looked to him and said, "We passed a ramen stand on the way to the apartment and I think I still know the way." Her voice noticeably darkened at the mention of ramen, but that was the only food stand she was able to remember and she was really hungry. Sessamaru nodded and followed her out of the apartment. "I swear if they don't stop staring I am going to go up to every single person and gouge their eyes out," the two thought. They were just about to crack when they noticed a ramen stand and ran right to it. When they entered it, a very delicious scent invaded their noses, and they nearly melted with how hungry they were. They sat down and was about to order when they noticed a large stack of used bowls covering the head of the consumer. Kagam noticed the orange outfit and knew who it was right away. The tiniest smile formed on her face. She got up from her seat and walked up to the figure. Head still being obscured by the steadily increasing amount of bowls. "Good morning, Naruto-kun." He looked up from his almost finished bowl and nearly spat out the contents when he saw who it was who was talking to him. Luckily he swallowed the contents in his mouth before tackling Kagam to the ground laughing. "Hi Kagam-chan." "Naruto-kun. Cantgasp breath," said the suffocating girl. He chuckled nervously and got off Kagam, rubbing the back of his head sheepishly, the widest smile plastered on his face. "Sorry about that Kagam-chan," the boy said, blushing a bit. "I didn't think that you were serious about what you said yesterday." Not many are. His face started to sadden, but he perked back up instantly and said, "Anyway, what are you and your Aniki doing here, Kagam-chan?" "We were hungry and didn't have anything to eat, so we came here." Her stomach let out a growl as if to prove it. She chuckled nervously. He see. "Well then, you better take a seat cause Ichiraku ramen is the best in the village," the boy said enthusiastically. She let a small smile grace her lips. She and Sesshomaru ordered, ate and left for the academy with Naruto. Along the way the two siblings noticed the glares and whispers aimed at Naruto, but as they looked at the boy, he didn't seem bothered by it. "Naruto, don't you notice all the glares aimed at you?" Kagam whispered to him. He just looked at her curiously and responded. "Sure I do, I've been getting it all the time so I'm used to it." "Do you know why?" she asked. "No I don't," he said with a shrug. "Oh, okay," she said dumbly, not knowing what else to say. They walked into the academy and they realized they were a few minutes early, so they, instead of going into the classroom, went to practice their aim and jutsus out in the training grounds, but saw that someone beat them to it. "Hey, who is that?" Naruto asked. It was a boy with a blue shirt and beige cargo shorts. His midnight black hair was up and looked like a chicken's butt. Kagam and Sesshomaru's eyes widened in realization, noticing a red and white fan on the back of the mysterious boy's shirt, and one name came to mind. Uchiha. One of the scrolls of Konoha's history talked about the Uchiha massacre, and Kagam and Sesshomaru spent most of their reading time on that certain scroll. They learned that only one boy was able to survive that massacre, and they knew who this boy was already. But Naruto never heard of the massacre, so he doesn't know who he is. "Let's see if we can make friends with him," Naruto said, excited. The other two looked at each other and nodded. Finding nothing better to do, they approached the boy and noticed him stiffen when they came in range of his senses. Well, they besides Naruto, who is as oblivious as ever, he walked closer. "Hey. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, future Hokage, believe it." "Who are you?" he said excitedly. "HN," he said bluntly. He took one long look at both Sesshomaru and Kagam and walked away. "Well, that was rude," Naruto said. "Oh, forget him, Naruto-kun, let's just go and practice," Kagam said. She noticed his staring, but thought nothing of it, and they practiced until the school was opened. Sesshomaru walked the two to their classroom. Almost every girl in the room looked at the door and just kept staring. He walked up to the sensei and told him about his sister being in his class. The sensei nodded and beckoned Kagam over. "Hello and welcome to my class, I am Iruka Yamino, your sensei." He turned to Kagam. "I take it that, you are Kagam?" he asked. He was tall and had a green Chunin vest. He had a scar across his nose and his chestnut hair up in a pineapple top. He looked at her smiling like a teacher would. "Yes, my name is Kagam Higurashi," she replied back kindly. He nods and turns to the class. "Everyone, this is our new student, please treat her kindly." Iruka turns to her and says, "Please introduce yourself to the class." "Hello everyone," she turns and bows down. "My name is Kagam Higurashi, and I hope that we become the best of friends." She looks up with the best fake smile she can muster. "Alright then, about the seating." Iruka looks around the room and notices only two seats empty, one near Naruto and another by Sasuke. "Well Kagam, how about you sit by Sasuke?" "I don't want to be a bother to you sensei, but may I sit by Naruto?" she asked with another bow. Everyone looked at her with surprised faces. "What is wrong with that girl?" Are you sure about that Kagam?" Iruka had the same curious stare as the rest of the students. "I am very sure," and with that she walked to where Naruto was currently seated, but not without a goodbye kiss to the forehead from her brother, and with that class started. Sasuke stared at her curiously. "It's that girl Ajin, she looks strong, but where did she come from? I never seen her in the village before, maybe from another village." Iruka was about to start class, so he decided to ponder on it later with one more glance at the girl, HN. "Hey, Kagam," Naruto waited until the person he was talking to looked at him. "Did you see that chicken head person stare at you for some reason?" "No, I never noticed, but I really don't mind nor care. Now come on Naruto, we need to pay attention." Kagam looked back at the board. Well, alright, Naruto said, deflated that there wasn't much conversation between him and his friend. The day went on that way until the end of school. Outside the school, Sesshomaru waited for her and Naruto. Kagome walked up to him and gave him a rare and sincere smile. "Aniki, can Naruto come home with us?" Kagome asked. "He is all alone and I can't bear it when we can offer him to stay with us instead." "Why not?" Sesshomaru answered as he started walking. "I am quite fond of him," he said with a smile only Kagome noticed. "Then it's settled," she says with an affirming nod. "Naruto, you're going to be living with us from now on. We'll move you in tonight and talk to the Hokage about the paperwork in the morning." The last bit she says more to Sesshomaru. "Really? That is so cool." Naruto shouted, ecstatic. Kagome just grinned. They stopped by Naruto's place to gather all of his stuff. Kagome brought her bag which was surprisingly big enough for all of Naruto's essentials, which included his cup ramen. Dinner was eaten in a comfortable silence and was provided by Naruto. Surprisingly, Sesshomaru developed a taste for ramen. "I guess Aniki and Inuyasha aren't as different after all," was the thought running through Kagome's head as she slurped her soup. They all took a bath and changed into their night outfits. Naruto was arranged to sleep in Kagome's room. Sesshomaru believed Naruto innocent enough not to try anything. When everyone said good night they all went to sleep, not thinking of what awaits them the next morning. They all drifted blissfully into the land of dreams. That is, until early the next morning, a scream was again heard throughout the house. "Yes, I passed the exam," was the only thought running through my mind as Iruka-sensei gave me my headband that day in the forest. Now Kagome and I are jumping on the town roofs to the academy to get our squads. Kagome and I are hoping to be put together. She seemed to be doing better with sleeping. At least I hope she is. Ah. It rang through the house once more. They both jolted out of their beds. Naruto was scared to bits thinking someone snuck in to attack. Be proven wrong when he heard the mumblings of Kagome next to him. He turned to her and noticed the river of tears streaming down her face and the pained and frightened look in her eyes. He looked at her worriedly wondering what happened when suddenly the door slid open and the only other person in the apartment walked in and wrapped his arm around the pained and crying girl. "SHH, it's alright, it was just a dream," he said. Naruto looked at him curiously. "A dream? A dream caused her to end up like that?" The other boy noticed the curious and worried look Naruto was giving him and the girl in his arms. He looked at him and decided to explain their situation in a way that would be easier for the 7-year-old to understand. "Naruto, I know you want an explanation, and I know you deserve it, since you will be living with us," the young demon started, making sure that Naruto was paying attention, which surprisingly he did. Sesshomaru continued, "You know that Kagome and I aren't originally from Konoha." Seeing the boy nod his head he proceeded, "That is because she and I are from a different dimension altogether, believe me because our story is true." He looked at the other boy's bewildered face with sincere eyes, noticing this and knowing that he really won't lie about something like this. Naruto nodded for him to continue with a more serious look on his face. With that, Sesshomaru told him the story starting from where Kagome came from to the battle and massacre and how they ended up where they are now. As he finished, Naruto looked at the now sleeping Kagome. He walked over to the two and gave Kagome a small hug. "They'll protect you, Kagome, from all that might hurt you. I will protect my friend," he vowed. Sesshomaru heard this and gave a small smirk. "Time to go back to bed, Naruto, so good night to you," and with that the stoic demon left the room for his. Naruto took one last look at Kagome and dozed off to bed. Naruto was so deep into that memory that he didn't notice that he and Kagome had made it to the academy, so he crashed into her, knocking her down. He got up and helped her to her feet. "Naruto-kun, what was that for?" Kagome asked. She was wearing her standard outfit, her headband around her neck. Her demonic features started coming back, but wasn't obvious to anyone other than her and her brothers. Her canines started growing, and her eyes were gaining a golden tint to it. Her senses were also getting stronger. She and Sesshomaru practiced their Kekkei Genkai at night. He trained her on how to control her poison whip through harsh sparring sessions. Kagome had also been working with her friend's weapons as well, since she was part human. She was able to use Tsuga, and in those 5 years she had learned all the moves Inuyasha learned and made her own style. Sesshomaru also trained Naruto with the scrolls they got from the old Hokage, and when he wasn't paying attention, they would sneak a look at the Konoha bingo book and read up on some things. They read up on the man that brought them to their apartment and brought them the scrolls. Naruto met him and saw the red eye. He really freaked out, that was, until Kagome got him to shut up. Naruto learned a lot of new jutsus from both Sesshomaru and Kagome. Sesshomaru was walking beside the two kids. He was already Anbu level, the same as Itachi, except he didn't want the job of Anbu captain. He has grown and had donned the standard Anbu outfit with his very own mask. Dog, of course. He walked them to the academy, at least until they decided to run. He followed in a slower pace and met them outside the school. He came with them because of a mission he was assigned that might have him away for a few weeks. The two came into view and he bid them farewell. I will see you two at home in a few weeks to at least a month, he told them. They looked at Sesshomaru and smiled at him. Kagem's smiles have been becoming more sincere ever since Naruto had moved in with them. But the kiss to Kagem's forehead and a pat to Naruto's head he was off and Naruto and Kagem walked into the academy. As they walked into the classroom, Kagem took her usual seat in the back near the other entrance. Naruto had his seat changed because he and Kagem talked too much, so he was moved by Sasuke. He started looking around the room and stopped when he spotted what he was looking for. He blushed as the one he was looking at turned to the eyes staring. Hinata Hyuga. The girl blushed a beet red and looked away from the bright blue eyes of her admirer. When she looked at him, he turned and looked away as well, but his face had a goofy smile on it that Kagem noticed. She was about to comment when two high-pitched voices made it to the room. Him first. When Kagem turned, she saw two of her worst nightmares, one was pink and the other was bleach blonde. Each of the nightmares kept screeching about how they won their little race and shot their stupid nicknames at each other the second she started at the academy. She knew that she won't like the two banshees. I won again, Sakura. Give it up, Ino. I had to look back to see you. My toe was at least a tenth of an inch ahead of you. Sakura retaliated. Ino was just about to say something back when the object of her insult was distracted. Sakura stared at something and blushed. She started to walk across the room to the person who claimed her attention. She pushed Naruto off of his seat and he ended up on his face. Hi Sasuke-kun, Sakura said to the midnight-haired boy. He just looked up and looked back to whatever he was staring at. Mind if I sit by you? No way, billboard brow. I was here first. I get to sit by Sasuke-kun. Ino said, grabbing Sakura's arm. A girl came up and said that she was here before them both, so she gets to sit by him. After all that, most of the girls in the class, save for Hinata and Kagem, were fighting over who gets to sit by the silent Uchiha. Through it all, Kagem was about to explode. Naruto got up from the ground and jumped on top of Sasuke's desk. Sasuke-kun, what is the draw into this guy? He isn't even that good looking. Naruto thought as he glared right into Sasuke's eyes. If you look close enough you would actually see lightning in between those two. Naruto was so into his staring contest that he didn't notice that a boy was leaning back and was about to tip him over, which he did. Whoa. Naruto said as he was leaning closer to Sasuke. All the girls screamed in protest, but none of them took action. Naruto's eyes closed shut waiting for the impact, but it never happened. He opened his eyes and saw that he was being held by something around his waist. He looked down and noticed a whip. He recognized it instantly. He straightened himself up and smiled. Kagem. Naruto said happily, and tears streaming from his eyes. Thank you so much. He was so happy that he jumped off the desk and gave her a big bear hug. Naruto. I need oxygen down here. Kagem said. Naruto got up and helped her to her feet for the second time today. She straightened herself and drew in her whip. She checked her brother for any cuts or bruises. When she deemed him fine, she turned to the people who aimed to hurt him. Touch him at all, and you won't live to see tomorrow. Her ice-cold stare was more menacing if you noticed her hand turning a toxic green. It was a warning that the girls gladly took. As she walked to her desk, Sasuke gave her a faint nod in thanks which she returned with a faint smile. Iruka walked into the room and stood in front of the class with a smile on his face. Congratulations to all of you who have passed the exam. He said this with a smile. He looked around the room and sent his biggest smile to Naruto. Now all of you are genin, and now, you will all be put into 3-man squads with a jounin, an elite shinobi, as your sensei. From here on in, the trials will be harder, so I wish you all the best of luck. Now with the teams. Now on to Team 7, Iruka looked through the list. Naruto Uzumaki, Naruto and Kagem perked up at the sound of his name. Sakura Haruno, both groaned. Sasuke Uchiha, one screamed in victory while another two were hanging their head defectively. And Kagem Higurashi. Naruto was definitely happier than Sakura and was sharing his feelings with Kagem. Sasuke sat staring at her. So she's on my team, still haven't learned a thing about her. She's good, but how? Where did her loyalties lie before she came here? Questions flooded through Sasuke's mind about his new teammate, but a high voice interrupted his train of thought. Sensei, why is she in my team? I thought it was just a 3-man squad. Pinky said, emphasizing the two words. Kagem sent a glare her way. Iruka just looked plainly annoyed. I am not paid enough for this. Kagem is in your team because 1. There was an uneven amount of graduating students, and 2. She made it as top Kunoichi and ranked second in the class under Sasuke. The rookie and Kunoichi of the year have to be on the same squad, Iruka states. Sasuke pondered this fact. She's number 2. Definitely good. Now it was Naruto who asked a question. Iruka-sensei, why is a genius like me put into the same team as the slug Sasuke? Sasuke gave him an irritated glance. Iruka just sighed, exasperated. It is because, Naruto, Sasuke graduated top of the class while you were last in the ranks. The dead lasts have to be paired with the rookie and Kunoichi of the year. So, that means, I am dead last in the ranks too? Sakura asked looking fearful. "It won't be like that if you actually concentrated on training instead of gawking at the Uchiha," was the thought that ran in Kagam's mind while a small smile of amusement crept onto her face. "Yes you were, like I said, the dead lasts have to be paired with a rookie and Kunoichi of the year, it balances out the team." Kagam laughed silently, it didn't escape Sakura's ears though. "Hey shut up. You know I am better, prettier, and smarter than you, right Sasuke-kun?" she said, looking at Sasuke. Kagam just scoffed, Sasuke didn't really pay attention, Hiruka had a tick mark growing on his forehead. "Anyway, teammate will consist of Kiba Inuzuka, Shino Aburam, and Hinata Hyuga." Hinata and Naruto looked sad at this outcome, both wanted to be in each other's team. Kagam patted Naruto on the back with a small reassuring smile on her face, he returned it, but without the same amount of enthusiasm. Team 10 will consist of Ino Yamanaka, Shikamaru Nara, and Choji Akimichi. Hiruka finished reading the list and lifted his head to address the students. "You can all wait here for your sensei after lunch." After lunch, one by one each team was being picked up until Team 7 was the only one left. "Well, you guys can wait for your sensei here," Hiruka said, and left. Naruto was fidgeting in his seat, Kagam leaned against the wall reading a scroll in her hand. Sasuke was sitting down with his arms folded, sending curious looks at Kagam, who stood reading. Sakura was just gawking at Sasuke. It has been 30 minutes, and now Naruto and Sakura were pacing the classroom while Kagam was sitting down. Sasuke sat, unmoving. Soon though, Naruto had headed. "Come on. When will the guy get here?" Naruto said. He looked around the room for something interesting. When he spotted the eraser, getting a mischievous grin, he walked over, grabbed the eraser and the chair at the front desk, he propped it on the closed door snickering. But stopped when he heard a high-pitched voice. "Naruto. Stop. You're going to get us in trouble." Sakura said, but inside, "Cha. This is gonna be awesome." "For once, I actually agree with her Naruto," Kagam said with an expressionless face. "And besides," Sasuke said, adding his 2 cents in, "our teacher is a jounin, do you really expect him to fall for it?" "Shut up." Naruto said with a glare aimed at Sasuke. He pondered for a bit at what Kagam said. He was about to remove the eraser when the door opened and knocked the chair, and Naruto, down. Naruto looked up and was about to scream at him when he saw the eraser hit his head. This sent him spiraling into a hysteria of laughter. "So sorry about the little idiot here sensei." Sakura said, "Cha. Bullseye." Kagam and Sasuke looked at him bewildered, he is going to be our sensei. Kagam looked him over, basic jounin outfit with a green jacket, black pants with blue ninja sandals, his kunai holster on his right leg. When Kagam looked at his face, recognition came to hers. "It's him." The masked man looked his new team over, and when he stopped at his 4th member, "Is that really her?" Wiping his current look off his face, his expression changed to indifference. "My first impression of you is, I hate you, meet me on the roof," and with that he disappears. Kagam got up from her seat and jumped out the window to the roof, but not without looking at her brother and saying, "You better hurry Naruto, you won't want to get on our new teacher's bad side already," and with that she too left for the roof, followed by the last occupants in the room. Only they took the stairs. Naruto bursts out the door to the roof followed by Sasuke and Sakura at a calmer pace. They see Kagam sitting on the railings and sat by her, Naruto to her left, Sasuke to her right, and sadly for him, Sakura to his left. Kakashi looks to them. "Alright you 4, time to introduce ourselves." "But how do we do that sensei?" Sakura asked. "Well, let's start with a name, your likes, dislikes, hobbies, dreams for the future, stuff like that," he replied. "How about you start first, to show us sensei," Kagam said. Well I am Kakashi Hatake." "I knew it," Kagam thought, looking him over, man he got old. "My likes and dislikes, I don't feel like telling, my dreams for the future, same thing, I have many hobbies," Kakashi finished. So, the only thing we learned was his name, they all thought. "You first Blondie," he looks to Naruto. "Well I am Naruto Uzumaki, I like cup ramen, playing pranks, and training with Kagam and Sesshomaru. I dislike the 3 minutes you have to wait for the ramen to cook and also the speed training that Sesshomaru puts me through. My hobbies are to compare different types of cup ramen." He grabs his headband, "And my dream is to become the greatest Hokage so that people would stop disrespecting me and actually treat me like I'm somebody worth looking at." "Okay," Kakashi looked to Sakura, "your turn Pinky," she frowned at the nickname, but spoke anyway. "My name is Sakura Haruno, my likes are," she looks at Sasuke and blushes, "well the person I like is," she blushes again, "my hobbies are," blushes even deeper, "my dream for the future is," she blushes in a deeper red and giggles like crazy. I don't even want to know what she has in that head of hers, Kagam thought shuddering. "And your dislikes are?" Kakashi asked, hiding his annoyance. "Naruto and Kagam," she said indifferently. Naruto looked at her disbelievingly, while Kagam looked up at the sky, not caring what she said. "Your turn, Moody." Kakashi turned his attention to Sasuke. My name is Sasuke Uchiha, I hate a lot of things and don't really like anything, he said. Sakura looks to him with disappointment. And what I have is not a dream, because I will make it come true, I will rebuild my clan and kill a certain someone. Kagome and Kakashi looks to him with understanding. I think he means Itachi. I know the feeling, Kagome thought, her hands clenched together. Okay, last one, he said. My name is Kagome Higurashi, I like my brothers, training, cats and dogs, especially dogs, she said with a sad smile. I don't dislike anything, really, she said with a shrug. My hobbies are training with Naruto and Sesshomaru, I also mess with him by calling him Fluffy at home. She was smiling at this. Yeah, but that is just her, I call him that, and he goes apeshit, Naruto said. Kagome gave a small giggle at that. My dreams for the future is becoming Anbu and serving under Naruto when he is older. After my ninja career, I would like to settle down and have a family, Kagome finished, and hopefully, let go of the past. Well, I have a ramen freak, a fangirl, an Avenger, and a mysterious newcomer. I must have the weirdest team yet. Well, you all are unique in your own way. Now, early tomorrow we will have a mission. Naruto perked up at this. What kind of mission is this, sensei? It will be a survival exercise, he said. Sakura frowned at this. But sensei, we've done that in the academy already, Sakura said, trying to be smart. Well, it's more like training, Kakashi responded. What kind of training? Naruto asked. At this, Kakashi started to laugh evilly. What is so funny, sensei? Kagome said in a bored voice. She wasn't paying much attention to what has been said, she started to direct her attention to them when Kakashi started to laugh. You guys won't like it if I told you, he said, chuckling more. They all had their eyes locked on him, telling him to go on. Well, of the 27, or 28 in this matter, only 9 to 10 rookies will pass, and the pass-fail rate is at least 66%. Their curious looks turned to shock. Well, Sakura and Naruto had shock on their face, while Sasuke and Kagome's eyes widened at the news. See? I told you. But we worked hard to get here. What was that graduation exam for if the percentage of passing rookies is that low? Naruto practically screamed. That exam was for the people who are likely to become genin. This test is to see who are worthy enough to be genin, Kakashi said indifferently. Anyway, be at training ground 7 by 5 in the morning, be ready for anything. Oh, and before I forget, don't eat breakfast, y'all puke, bye. Kakashi says and leaves in a puff of smoke. Team 7 stays there with incredulous looks on their faces, at least until Kagome snapped out of it. Naruto, I need to be alone for a bit, you go on home ahead of me, K. With that she left with a nod from Naruto. Sasuke gets up and follows at a slower pace. No one really notices that he is following Kagome. Sakura decided she needed to go shopping and left without a word of goodbye to Naruto. The Jinchuriki, soon after, followed suit and head home. Kagome was on the top of the Hokage faces looking out to the village. Clouds covered the moon which made the night much darker. Many thoughts roamed her mind about her long-deceased friends. As she stared at the lit-up village, she sensed a presence coming up behind her, childlike, but dark. Full of bleak and terrible memories. Uchiha, she called out, not even turning around. Did you need something? I really want to be alone right now. Her head rested on her knees. I came to ask you something, he said. Man, where is she? I wondered. I has been waiting at home for an hour now. I was deciding whether to go and search or stay and wait, but I was a bit worried, so I went and searched for her. I walked out the door and starts to search. I kept on looking around the village in every nook and cranny. I was about to give up when I noticed a tiny dark figure on top of the Hokage mountain. He climbed up and hid when he noticed a gathering between his new teammates. Sasuke and Kagome don't notice the Jinchuriki in the bushes and continued with their conversation. Who exactly are you? He started. The people within this village know everyone who lived in it since it first came to be. People easily notice a new face. Most would assume a traveler, but you and your brother stayed, and I want to know what for. Kagome looked to him. Why should I say? It is for personal reasons, is that enough? She turned back around. Sasuke walked forward. No, if you are from another village, you should know that it's rare for one to move to a different village for personal reasons, he said. It causes quite the stir. So, which village are you from, and why are you here? Tell me, he asked again, a hardness in his voice that demands compliance. Why do you want to know so badly? Who are you to ask me these questions? You don't reign over me, she said in spite. She hates being bossed around. As your new teammate, I have the right to know, he said matter-of-factly. You could be an enemy of the village hiding right under our noses as part of our ranks, Kagome chuckled. You are definitely a smart boy, she said. You're right, I guess, you do have the right to know who your teammates are and what they do, gauge their strengths. She gets up, but I shouldn't be showing you out here. I've been told that my kind isn't exactly welcome in this world. She walks off. Expecting him to follow. Sasuke started after her, even more questions running through his brain as the wind blew. He followed her into an open training ground, large and empty, an interesting choice of scenery to tell a simple story. Kagam stood in the middle of the clearing. When Sasuke came closer, she said, "I need room to show you, keep an open mind until the end of my story, if you don't mind." The wind blew stronger and the clouds moved on, the moonlight shined down to the center of the clearing where Kagam stood and she began to glow. It started from her necklace, then spread throughout her entire body, her hair started to flail around as she began to change. The crescent moon formed in the middle of her forehead, her fangs and nails grew out and came to a point, stripes of green formed on her face, the glow began to die down. She crouched down as the transformation completed and Sasuke stood there, wide-eyed. She gets up and looked at him, eyes glowing a bright gold. Story, Part 1, she said with a smirk, think of it as a piece of my Kekkei Genkai, now I'll take questions before I start Part 2. What the hell are you? He asked slowly, hand reaching down to his pouch, she saw it and held her hand up. Don't worry, I'm not here to wreak havoc in your village, just the opposite actually, I came here for a new start. Her hands were held up in surrender as she changed back, he relaxed just a bit, but his composure showed he was prepared for an attack. I wasn't always like this. I used to be an average human being, like the normal folk in this village, but events happened that led to this situation we find ourselves in now. If you will hear me out, I can explain everything, but as I have said before, keep an open mind and just try to acknowledge the fact that everything I am about to tell you is the truth. Sasuke stood there, contemplating everything that had transpired, but he wanted answers. Keep talking. Early that next morning, Naruto jumped out of his futon. Kagam was still sleeping. I should wake her up. He walked over to her bed and shook her. Kagam, time to wake up, Naruto said. She groaned and sat up slowly. Then Naruto? She asked groggily. He looked at her and told her to get ready for training. She got out of bed, grabbed her clothes and went to the bathroom for a shower. Naruto didn't want to bathe, so he just changed there. When he finished, he walked out of the room to meet with the smell of frying bacon. He ran to the kitchen and saw Kagam cooking the meal. She walked to the table to set down the bacon in the plate next to the eggs and pancakes. When she saw Naruto, she smiled and waved to him to sit down. Naruto looked at her disapprovingly. Kagam, Kakashi-sensei said not to eat breakfast. Screw Kakashi and his rules, who would puke during training anyway? Kagam stated, while Naruto just stood there processing what Kagam said. Kagam sat down at the table and started to eat. Naruto, if you don't start eating now, there will be nothing left. All Naruto did surprisingly was ignore Kagam and walk to the door. It'll meet you at the training grounds. Kagam just chuckled and continued to eat. She calmly walked into the designated training grounds and found her team lounging about, captain missing. Hey Naruto, Uchiha, Pinky, she greeted. Naruto yelled out a hello, Sasuke nodded her way, and Sakura seethed. How very unprofessional. Why are you late? Sensei said 7 o'clock and you arrive at 8. I didn't feel like coming early, I had a long night, Kagam said sending Sasuke a look he noticed and just smirked back. Sakura saw this exchange and turned a bright red. What were you doing with my Sasuke-kun? She shouted, appalled. He had questions, lots of questions, and I had the answers, simple as that, she responded blankly. Anyway, where is our teacher? He, himself set the time. We don't know, Hess just not here, Sasuke said. Kagam just looked around and shrugged. Fine, I guess it'll just take some time and catch up on a little bit of sleep. Kagam looked at Naruto. I woke up quite early to clean up the house this morning, right Naruto? He just chuckled nervously. Kagam found a nice looking tree that is perfect for napping under, so she did just that. The long hour passed, and it was almost 9 o'clock when Kagam jolted awake and walked over to her teammates. He is nearing. Poof. Yo, Kakashi said. Naruto and Sakura were beyond pissed. You are hours late from the time you designated and all you can say is yo. They practically screamed. Kagam and Sasuke was just glaring at him. Sorry about that, I was helping a lady carry her groceries and I lost track of time. Liar. Naruto and Sakura shouted. Kakashi just sighed. Well, enough of that, Kakashi said walking to one of the stumps. He put an alarm clock on it. This is set for noon, and now it is 9 o'clock. He pulls out 3 bells from his pocket and holds it up. You have 3 hours to take these bells from me. Wait, sensei, why are there only 3 bells when there are 4 of us? Sakura scowled. That is because the person who doesn't get the bell will be tied to the stump while they watch me eat my lunch in front of them. They all sweat dropped. So that is why he told us not to eat, 3 of the 4 thought. Kagam just smirked. Come at me with all you have got, and I mean, all that you got, ninjutsu and weapons. The only way you can get these bells is if you come at me with the intent to kill. But sensei, we could kill you. Sakura said worriedly. Kagam just laughed. What do you want, dog? Sakura said, which made Kagam laugh harder. Do you really think that a genin fresh out of the academy like us can hurt a jounin like him? Let alone kill him? She asked incredulously. Well, did you see how he fell for Narubaka's trick so easily? And, like it matters, all I know is that I can wipe the floor with you anyways, she said snobbily. In my opinion, 1. Don't judge a book by its cover, 2. In your dreams, Kagome said. Alright, if everyone is done, the test will start on 3, Kakashi stated, yet it seems there is one person in the group who is very impatient. Naruto runs up to Kakashi, ready with a kunai in hand, when he counters and twists Naruto's arm to point the kunai at himself. You are too hasty that I didn't count yet, but since you came with the intent to kill, I am starting to like you guys, ready? 1 2 3. He lets go of Naruto and the members of Team 7 disappears. Shinobi must learn to conceal their presence. He looks around the area finding everyone, well, at least they get that part. He turns and finds Naruto standing a few feet away. You and me one-on-one, right now. Naruto yelled. Oh Naruto, Kagome thought from her hiding place in the bushes. You know, compared to the others, you're a little weird, Kakashi said, Naruto growled. Well, the only thing weird around here is your haircut. Naruto runs at him, he stops when Kakashi starts to reach into his kunai pouch. Shinobi Battle Skill 1. Taijutsu, Kakashi pulls out his hand. What does he mean taijutsu? Hess pulling out a weapon. Naruto thought with a curious look that turned to incredulous. Are you trying to screw with me? Naruto screamed at what Kakashi pulled out. What? I just wanted to find out what happens in the story, Kakashi stated, anyway, go on and attack, there really is no point in me paying attention to you and your weak attacks. I am going to crush you. Naruto runs at him, fists ready, only to have it blocked, he thought quickly and followed with a roundhouse, which didn't make contact and an elbow to Kakashi's head when he disappears, huh? Don't let your enemy get behind you all the time, Kakashi states his hand in the form of tiger. No Naruto. Kagome thought, just before she was about to save him though, Sakura popped out of her hiding spot. Naruto get out of the way. She screams, but it was too late. Hidden Leaf Secret Finger Jutsu. Naruto froze from panic, 1,000 years of death. Kakashi stuck his fingers up Naruto's butt, sent him flying, and made everyone else confused. Secret Finger Jutsu? Sasuke thought. More like a regular ass poke to me, Kagome thought. Now where was I? Kakashi said, he wasn't able to find his place because 2 shuriken flew from the lake Naruto landed in. Kakashi simply caught it and went on reading. Clones came from the lake and attacked Kakashi, one grabbing him from behind and holding him still. Soon though Kakashi disappeared and in his place was another Naruto, it didn't take long for him to figure out that his sensei wasn't in the group. One of the clones noticed something shining on the ground and smiled. Hey, it's a bell. He walked up to grab it only to be pulled into the air, hanging upside down. Oh Naruto, his sister thought. Kakashi walked up to the tree Naruto was hanging from. A ninja must see through deception, so if the bait is obvious, don't take it. Now's my chance. Sasuke thought. He noticed Kakashi with his guard down and was about to throw his weapons, but he didn't realize that someone thought the same thing. He saw Kagome walk into the field calmly. Kakashi noticed and turned his attention to her. So it's your turn, Kakashi said. All she did was close her eyes as if to concentrate, hold up her right hand with her middle and pointer finger up, and whispered something. Kakashi looked at her curiously and noticed that her fingers started to turn green. What kind of jutsu is that? He wondered. She opened her eyes and looked at him. He was ready for an attack when her eyes turned their attention to Naruto. She threw her arm forward and a whip flew out cutting Naruto down. Like it, sensei? It is part of my Kekkei Genkai, it's called my poison whip, she smirked. I can control whether there is poison in it or not, but either way it is deadly. She turns her attention to him and lashes her now poison-filled whip at him. Kakashi jumped to dodge the first attack, but didn't notice the second, it made contact wrapping around his body. Poof. What? Kagome thought, in the coils of her whip was a log slowly being dissolved. Sasuke noticed this and ran off trying to find Kakashi. As Kagome just stood in the clearing, Sakura noticed and started to follow. She kept running, but stopped abruptly when she saw Kakashi standing in an open area. She jumped into a shrub. But he didn't notice me, Sakura whispered. Sakura, behind you, she turns and finds Kakashi. A scream was heard by the stoic Uchiha, he recognized it as Sakura. She is so useless, he said. He heard a rustle in the bushes, and soon later, Kakashi walks out. She seemed to have fallen for that quickly. Not like that, Sasuke replied. Say that after you get these bells from me. No sooner did Kakashi say that when shuriken came flying at him from Sasuke, Kakashi dodges it, and the attacks coming from behind at last minute from Sasuke's trap. Sasuke runs at him and attempts to kick him in the face. Kakashi catches it and his upcoming punch. He had to let go of his arm though to block Sasuke's other leg. When he noticed what Sasuke was trying to do, he lets go of him and backs off. So this is an Uchiha, Kakashi thought. He was surprised when he saw the hand signs that Sasuke was doing. What? Genin can't do that. It uses up too much chakra. Higher style. Fireball jutsu. Sasuke blows out the air he gathered and out came a fireball. The jutsu finishes and he walked up to the crater. What? Where is he? Up. Left. Right. Below. Sasuke looks down with shock as Kakashi's hand grabbed his ankle and pulled him into the ground. He pops up, Earth style. Headhunter jutsu, he says simply and walks away. A few minutes later Sasuke heard a rustle in the bushes and Sakura came out. She paused in her running to notice Sasuke's head on the ground. Sakura. He looks at her, her eyes turned wide. Sasuke-kun's head doesn't have a body and it's talking. She screams and yet again passes out. Sasuke's sweat drops. He heard another rustle in the bushes. Out came Kagome, this time looking around and mumbling to herself. I know I heard the little Barbie screaming around here somewhere, she said quietly. She looks around a little more until she spotted Sasuke's head and Sakura sprawled on the floor out cold. She didn't say anything for a few minutes until she burst out laughing. It went on for quite a bit. Oh gasp, my gasp god. What did I miss? She kept laughing as she pulled Sasuke out of the ground and she still didn't stop. I was stirring after my little episode and I opened my eyes. I was a bit dazed when I remembered what I saw. Oh no. Sasuke-kun. I shot up and heard Kagome laughing like a maniac. I turned and saw her sprawled on the floor. I sneered and looked at where my beloved's head was. Sasuke-kun. Your body's back. I ran over to hug him. I looked at the pinky incredulously. She thought he was decapitated. He was talking. I thought, then again, talking heads aren't exactly an impossibility. Ah, memories. Ring. Bam, Sasuke said. We recompassed ourselves and went back to the alarm clock and found someone tied to one of the punching stumps. Naruto. What did you do this time? I asked him. He laughed nervously. I walked toward him aiming to cut the ropes when a hand on my shoulder caught my attention. I turned to look at Sasuke. What are you doing? I looked at him with surprise on my face. Kakashi told me to, he said. I looked around the field and found him. He walked over to all of us. Well, after what I have just seen, I've decided that you guys aren't going back to the academy. My face lit up a bit, at least it was what happened until what he said next. You guys need to drop from the program, permanently. What? My brother yelled, you said that if we don't get the bells you would just send us back to the academy. You can't just change your mind. That is only because you don't think like ninja, you all think like kids, brats. Sasuke had it then, here ran Kakashi with a kunai in hand, only to fail at the attempt and get sat on. I growled, you think it's all about you. So you think it's just a game, huh? Why did you think we put you on squads? Kakashi asked us. What do you mean? Sakura asked. I mean you never even thought about what this test was trying to teach you. Teach us? Teach us what? Naruto asked. I thought about it for a bit and I finally understood where this test was going. It's so simple. Before Sensei was able to finish that sentence, I did it for him. Teamwork, I said. Kakashi looked at me and his whole demeanor changed. At least someone finally gets it. If all four of you came at me then you might have been able to take at least one. How did you figure it out? He asked me. I thought about it and, well, 3 to 4 people on a squad and the fact that there are only 3 bells, you are trying to test our teamwork, Kagome stated, by having 3 bells and the fact that if one of us failed we'd be sent back to the academy. You would think that we would fight over it one by one instead of working together, of which you were right. Exactly, you, Sakura, you were so busy obsessing over Sasuke that you didn't see Naruto was right in front of you. Sakura looked down in shame. Naruto. You do everything on your own. Naruto does the exact same thing as Sakura, and you, Kakashi increases the pressure on Sasuke's head with his foot. You think that everyone is so beneath you, arrogance is what causes accidents and deaths in a mission. For example, Kakashi brings out a kunai and holds it to Sasuke's neck. Sakura, kill Naruto or Sasuke dies. I glared at her, clearly knowing what she would do. Don't even think about it, I growled at her. Anyway, that is what happens on a mission. Someone is taken hostage, and one person always ends up dead. He pulls the kunai away from his neck and got off. Kakashi walked toward a stone with names engraved on it. Have you ever looked at this stone? It has all the names of the people who Konoha considers as heroes. Yeah. And I am going to get my name on that stone as well. Naruto said enthusiastically. I looked at him. Naruto, those heroes are very special because they died in battle, I told him and instantly darkened, like all of my friends, my eyes covered my face. The names of my closest friends are placed here. Silence ensued us for a while. Kakashi turned around. Alright, I'm going to give you all one more chance after lunch. Eat now to gain some strength because it will be much harder, but Naruto gets no food, feed him, and you will all fail, with that. He disappeared in a puff of smoke. Sakura walked to the bento and handed them out. I got my share and they all started eating except for me. Naruto's stomach started to growl. He laughs nervously. Don't worry about me. I can go for days without eating. He said. It was kind of hard to believe since I have known him for so long, coupled with the fact that his stomach started to growl more. A few minutes later, I couldn't take it anymore. I concentrated my chakra to my hand and walked over to Naruto. I brought my hand down on the ropes and handed my bento to Naruto. Eat, I already ate anyway and besides, we can't have you dragging us down on the next test, right Naruto-kun? I said with a small smile. What are you doing? The banshee shrieked, Sensei said that we shouldn't feed him. I glared at her. Do you really expect me to be heartless like you and not feed him? I asked her, my voice full of malice. Suddenly there was a poof and lightning flashed out of nowhere. You have broken the rules. Any last words? Kakashi asked. Yeah, do we pass or not, Kakashi? I asked him, his eye made an upside down U to indicate he was smiling. Yes, you pass, Kakashi said, it is true that when a ninja breaks the rules, they are scum, but someone who would abandon their friends are worse. We stood in silence for a little while. Anyway, congratulations, you guys are the first that actually passed my test. Team 7's mission start tomorrow. With that he poofs off, we all walked away with smiles on our faces. So that's it for now, I hope this video is entertaining. If you really enjoyed this video, then please hit that like button, that will be super duper awesome. Like aim is 500 likes, also don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Thanks for watching guys, take care, bye.